முதுகு வலியா மூட்டு வலியா கை கால் நீட்ட மடக்க இயலாமையா அறுவை சிகிச்சை இல்லா குணம் ஆயுட்கால நிவாரணம் டாக்டர் ஸ்ரீவர்மா பிசிஆர் மகாராஜா தைலம் அனைத்து மருந்து கடைகளிலும் கிடைக்கும்.
My ministerial colleagues from Latin America and Caribbean, Excellencies, Vice President Mukundanji, Director General Chandrajit Banerjee, ambassadors, business delegates, friends. It is a great pleasure to address the 10th CII LAC conclave this morning. This gathering has developed steadily over the last decade and has now become a regular fixture in our bilateral dialogue and in our economic interactions. Its significance can be gauged from the presence today of senior leaders from, I believe, 15 nations of Latin America and the Caribbean. And as in the past, I'm confident that their visit, along with the official and business delegations accompanying them, will be productive and will contribute to the further deepening of our relationship. Before we look at the potential of India-Latin America-Caribbean cooperation, a few words about the global economic scenario would be in order. The fact is that we are passing through an uncertain and volatile period where the accumulated stresses of the past and the impending challenges of the future make a very potent combination. We are all developing countries and therefore among those most impacted by the long-term consequences of the COVID pandemic. Indeed, the catastrophic impact of that event is hard to overstate. It has set back realization of SDG targets very considerably. On top of that, the implications of the Ukraine conflict for food, fuel, and fertilizer security have been additional stress points. Even otherwise, the global economy was witnessing pressures of unviable debt, deteriorating terms of trade, and hard currency shortages. The cost of borrowing, particularly for developing countries, has been exorbitant. This challenging backdrop is the reality that we must recognize as we explore new forms of cooperation. The economic lessons from these happenings are also something that we need to take into account. Clearly, there is a need to de-risk the global economy from the dangers of over-concentration in any single geography. But we also need to build reliable and resilient supply chains. At the same time, because we have now moved decisively, irrevocably into the digital era, we need to ensure trust and transparency when it comes to selection of partners. Where India's collaboration with Latin America and the Caribbean are concerned, there are some areas of special priority as a result. First and foremost, our partnership must address the needs of health security. India is a major player when it comes to pharmaceuticals and vaccines. We are today prepared to not only export competitively, but also localize production where necessary. Many countries in the region already have positive experiences of our vaccines, of our life-saving drugs, of APIs, and of medical devices. We have also developed the concept of Jan Aushadhi Kendras, which is like a people's pharmacy, that increase accessibility and affordability of medicines. Many of us have a well-established heritage of traditional medicine, facilitating technology flows, harmonizing regulations, recognizing pharmacopoeia, and promoting mobility of talent are among the possibilities that we should encourage. Now, both COVID and conflict have brought home to us the importance of food security. Disputes in faraway places have actually exacerbated hunger in many homes. And like during the COVID times, we saw little concern on the part of those better off about those who were not. Supply chains have also been impacted by threats to maritime shipping, accidents, or even extreme climate events. Since this involves such basic needs of society, the world is ideally looking for self-sufficiency. But if not, at least for close and reliable shoring. Latin America and the Caribbean are regions blessed by nature. They have the ability to serve as a breadbasket, not just for themselves, but for the entire world. But to realize their full potential, there is need for better technology, for greater productivity, for logistics, for post-harvest storage, and for more food processing. Advancements like drones, nano-fertilizers, and AI applications can make a big difference. These are some of the prospects that we need to explore collaboratively. The quest for energy security ranks only next to health and food security. LAC is a prolific producer of energy whose real capabilities are only now beginning to be visible. India, on its part, will actually be accounting for the largest share of new energy demands in the foreseeable future. So tying up as a reliable supplier to the fifth largest economy, probably the third by the end of the decade, makes eminent sense. Modern day transportation ensures that no source of supply is too far. Our shared interests extend beyond orthodox fossil fuels to biofuels and to renewables. Initiatives like the International Solar Alliance or the Global Biofuel Alliance are noteworthy in that context. Let me also add that energy cooperation can be a two-way street. Indian companies are active in power transmission. We can also contribute to strengthening the renewable sector and perhaps even the civilian nuclear one in the future. So, ladies and gentlemen, India is today, in many ways, a pioneer of digital public infrastructure. In the last decade, we have veritably seen a transformation in the quality of governance and the efficiency of services delivery as a result. This has not only dramatically reduced leakages, but enabled limited resources to be deployed across a much vaster societal expanse. It has always been our approach to share experiences and capabilities, especially with our fraternal countries of the global south. We would be open to engaging in collaborative endeavors in the digital domain so that its benefits can also be availed of in Latin America and the Caribbean. Mining has long been a core economic activity in Latin America. Many Indian companies have established themselves in this area through their investments and other activities. They range from aluminium and copper to precious metals. In recent years, there is also interest in lithium resources and other minerals relevant to semiconductors and electric mobility. Logistics is a natural corollary to any economic activity. Those of you who would have visited India before this particular occasion need no convincing of our progress in infrastructure. For those here for the first time, do appreciate that we are currently building about 10,000 kilometers of highway and 4,000 kilometers of railway annually. Our airports have doubled in the last decade, while our metro systems have more than tripled in that period. Whether it is power grids or water pipelines, Indian companies have developed formidable capacities that they can now deploy abroad. We can be your reliable partner in all these domains. In recent years, India has also emerged as an increasingly competitive defense exporter. We have by now a track record of supply of radars, helicopters, maritime surveillance aircraft, offshore patrol vessels, artillery, and ammunition. Our products are sturdy and easy to maintain. In many ways, we can meet the requirements that emanate from your particular environment. Like Latin America and the Caribbean, India is also rapidly becoming a middle-class society. Quite often, aspirations and lifestyles move ahead of actual incomes. But what it does in multiple domains is to position India as a competitive source for the consumption demands of that economic group. From small cars to two-wheelers, from pharmaceuticals to smartphones, we can today really compete with the best of the world. There is a growing complementarity between our economies that the political leadership can help accelerate and consolidate. Our bilateral trade today has reached the annual range of about $35 to $40 billion annually. These numbers have a real potential of increasing if we make sustained efforts. Stronger cooperation between policymakers and business community will surely yield results. The investment story has also begun to take off in both directions. Here too, there is cause for greater optimism. Let me add two other factors because they both characterize our current, I would say, development and initiatives in this country, as well as reflect the priorities of my own ministry. One pertains to the startup and innovation culture. I think if the visiting ministers and business people spend a little time, this is probably the biggest change which has occurred in the last few years. And you can actually feel the startup energy in this country. It is again, I think, an area that we need to explore more actively with our international partners. The second refers to projects that we undertake. I think there was a reference both by Mr. Banerjee and Mr. Mukundan to that. India today has roughly about 80 development partners, 80 countries with whom we work on projects. And we have delivered more than 600 significant projects across the world. Many of them are in Latin America and Caribbean. I've had the privilege of visiting some of them myself. Some of them are big. They are infrastructure projects, roads, for example, or power grids. Some of them may be much smaller. They may be community projects. But I again want to highlight that as an area of cooperation, something that we would like to take forward. We are actually, I think, even during this conclave, advancing it with some of our partner countries. So let me conclude by saying this, that last year while visiting the LAC region, Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced the development of a portal, partnerindia.org. It would focus on the 5 T's: trade, technology, tourism, talent, and tradition. Once developed and boarded, it would be the port of first call for those who are keen to engage with each other. We expect this portal to materialize by the end of the year, and hopefully it would contribute to making this conclave an even smarter deliberation. So again, I want to say we appreciate very much the presence of all the visiting leaders of their delegations. I would particularly like to acknowledge and appreciate the efforts of Team CII and Team MEA. As we now move into the second decade of the India LAC conclave. I'm confident that this would emerge as a key platform to energize a partnership that is increasingly productive and consequential. I thank you for your attention.